So I'm going to play mobile video, which is mobile. Actually, it's 3GPP. It's mobile phone recording. So it's just audio call. It cannot be. So this is extension or extension, whatever. So it cannot be uploaded to the YouTube directly. So I'm now going to play it and explain important parts. So this is mobile call with this guy. So I explained in this video everything related to him, most of the things that are now important. This video is sort of introduction to everything. So this is first video in a row related to this guy directly. So it addresses specifically him as the one who bought my property illegally. And what is probably the most shocking thing is that he knew that I have cancer and he still went on and bought my property. And it will be heard how he brutally is still breaking the law and lying and so on and so on. So the guy is war profiteer, and by the way, so ZVONIMIR STEVANOVIC, and he is also my neighbor and my cousin from my father's side. So this is something that happened on 5th. That phone call was happening on 5th of May 2022, 8:13 a.m. And I explained here what happened 7 days before that. Is it 7 days? Something like 7 days. So on 29th of April 2022. So today is 6th of November 2023. He's still using my property illegally. So I'm now going to play this mobile recording of mobile call. He called me, and in the end I mentioned SMS that I sent him on that day, 29th of April, and he threw these cadastre documents. So I'm going to play this in the end. So this is SMS, he confirmed he received it. So now I'm going to play this and stop when from time to time, and especially explain some parts which are really important. Okay.
Tražimo države da me obešteti.
Kako da podelimo njivu? Znači, po zakonu prvo to treba, ali, kažem ti lepo, znači, sudije je to sve na prevaru uradio. Znači, to sad...
Nerealno.
So I reminded him one more time that we need to divide the property. Property is still not divided. So I explained a lot about that property here, parts of that property, and so on and so on. It turned out they falsified my signature because nobody wants to give me that contract that actually his wife signed, because his wife is the official owner, but he's unofficial real owner of the properties and that stores that he has called POLJOKOMERC. So I reminded him about that. First time I reminded him about that multiple times in the, during that phone call, and this was the first time. And I also reminded him that judge committed frauds. So frauds committed by judge are sort of integral version is let me see, where is this? That should be this video. So I don't know why this is not shown, why some videos are not shown. Yeah, so this is the video that that is had all frauds committed by judges. So by judges, you heard it well, by judges from multiple courts. So this is almost, well, not something more than hour and a half. So here are all these frauds in one place, something really unbelievable, but this is what happened. So I reminded him one more time on those frauds, and this is extremely important what he's about to. So he's about to say something about something related to why he's doing this.
Ako je prevara, slušaj, ti čita zvuk. Ako je prevara, ja ću da tražim od države da me obešteti. Ja to nisam ni oto, ni uzurpirao, ja sam to platio.
So what he said here is that if it's a fraud in question, then he will ask state to pay for his damages, and he said he didn't steal it, he paid for it. I mean, his word profiteer. So this is what they promised him. I mean, when I say they, the pieces of shit from United States Embassy. So they are behind this for reasons I explained in some of the videos related to this monster who murdered 3 members of my family, this degenerate, and this is her sister who gave guarantees for her. I don't know if I mentioned this, anyways. So both of these 2 degenerates have major psych issues. So in this video I explained why she is protected, and in this video there are more details why she is protected. So this is what he is promised, because it was very important to sell the property to somebody, to make it look like she's innocent, she did nothing, although she murdered 3 members of my family and she poisoned 3 kids. So she poisoned also children. Real monster and psychopath. So these are 2 videos on poisoning children. So let's continue. By the way, he could sue state for the damages if he didn't know what is happening, but he knew very well, and I mean this video is more than enough, because he is simply ignoring the facts that I presented. He has his point of view. I mean, these are some of his laws which don't exist, and this what he just said shows how these morons are stupid and how they think that they will get away with this.
Notar je overio, notar prvo uzima, znaš i sad uzima prvo ugovore na proveru, overio, ja se toga držim. Ako i to ne funkcioniše u ovoj državi, ja ću tužiti državu.
So he said again that notary checked out everything, so that notary is highly compromised. So notary Bojana Babić. These are videos about her. So she's heavily protected by prosecution. And she was a lover of, I don't know, maybe she's still, so this is official, lover of former minister, I mean, he was minister, in several ministries, this piece of shit, Zoran Đorđević, Turko Cigani Moran, and he's also, this piece of shit is also involved in illegal arms trade in Libya, from Serbia to Libya. So that's for their credibility. And of course, nothing could be seen in the contract that nothing can be, it cannot be seen that anything is wrong because court sent only documents that suit them, so that it can be seen how judges committed frauds. And again, here I explained here in these two videos, part 1 and part 2, how court was hiding their frauds. So they sent only papers, actually I think 2 or 3 papers of, I don't know, hundreds of papers from the case of inheritance proceedings of my late father, and nobody could see that something is wrong. So these two videos on Dušanka Lukić, so she's the actually lawyer of that guy, of that war profiteer, real piece of shit. He hired her to convince my brother to sell the property, to convince my brother that everything is okay. So let's see, or more precisely, let's hear what else he has to say. So again, he said if something is wrong, then he will sue the state. He can do that one more time if he didn't know about what's happening, but he knew very well.
Gledaj, država da tužiš, oni će da urade ko što su radili sa mnom. Znači, ja ti kažem lepo, ti to možeš da vidiš kod advokat, isto to ti kaže. Ova advokatica što mi je poslala ponudu, znači, imam njen snimak kada ona kaže da to ne može da se proda. Imam njen snimak razgovora. Ona je rekla to ne može da se proda, niko neće dolazi u proces, u krivični postupak zbog toga. To mi je ona rekla, znači snimio sam. I onda su je, da su ucenili, ja ne znam šta je bilo. Znači, to su takva krivična dela, čoveče, da, znači, ja joj nisam dao sad skoro da uđe na grob. Imam pravo
Vidi
da
ovako
to...
da ja tebe pitam za trenutnu situaciju.
So I mentioned here lawyer. I have one more phone recording with that lawyer, that piece of shit. So again, that lawyer is his lawyer. He is now pretending here when I just mentioned her, and he is pretending that he knows nothing about her. So again, Dušanka Lukić, and let's see what else he has to say.
Pa
Jel hoćeš
mogu
ti...
samo da ti kažem, znači,
Kaži,
mene
kaži.
policija, slušaj, policija došla da me zastrašuje. I ti sam znaš da po zakonu, to svako ko je malo upućen u zakon, ti sam znaš, znači da ima pravo onaj kog je podneta prijava, da sve gleda što je podneto protiv njega. I oni meni kažu, nema pravo na prijavu. Znači, 3 dana sam tražio od njih i od tužilaštva, osnovnog javnog tužilaštva da mi daju broj prijave, neće da mi daju. Neće da mi daju njen broj prijave što mi krala drva još 2019. Oni to neće da daju.
Neće do tebe, oni te podatke neće da daju nikom kada do toga dođe.
Čekaj, Zvonko, meni je poslao mail, kako se zove, načelnik policije. Znači, on mi je poslao još kad je bilo 2019.
So I explained here what was happening in 2022. Police was intimidating me and harassing me for like 10 times, something like that. So that monster who murdered 3 members of my family and poisoned 3 kids was filing false crime reports, and they still went on, and in most of the cases they didn't ask me to give statements, but in some cases they asked for my statements. So almost every time there were different police officers, so they simply ignored that she was falsely filing crime reports, falsely reporting me, and they were harassing me for almost 10 times, maybe more than 10 times. So I mentioned here how police was breaking the law. They didn't want to give me a single case related to those false crime reports, a single case.
Za taj, da imam pravo na to. Znači da mi sve to daju. Po zakonu o krivičnom postupku imam pravo na to. I oni mi ne daju, lepo ti kažem. Znači, protiv nje postoji krivična prijava za monstruozno ubistvo. To je meni poslao načelnik. Razumeš? On mi je poslao dan pošto sam ih prijavio Interpolu. Znači, napravio sam, kad mi je ta advokat, kad mi je poslao, ja sam njoj napravio prijavu, video prijava, odnosno opomena pred međunarodnom tužbu.
So I mentioned here something that's described in details in the following video, in this video. So I'm not giving more details on that because again everything is explained here. I will just continue.
I tu sam napisao, znači na početku, u videu se vidi da još uvijek postoji prijava koju sam podneo preko Twittera, razumeš? Preko Twittera sam prijavio vrh MUP-a. Posle 24 sata, posle toga, oni su, policija je podnela prijavu moju, za monstruozno ubistvo protiv nje. Znači, dok se to ne odbaci, za to je sudija, Dejan Adamović je falsifikovao zapisnik. Ja sam otišao tamo. Ja sam se teo onda da ti kažem, ti nisi teo da ti pošaljem. Znači, ovo je slučaj međunarodnog organizovanog kriminala.
So now I mentioned here Judge Dejan Adamovic, who was in charge of my father's inheritance proceedings. There are a lot of videos about him, about his brutal frauds. So that was the part of of this conversation related to that judge. And I also mentioned something very important, that I told this guy about those frauds before, but he didn't want to listen. And of course he didn't complain, so he didn't say you didn't tell me and so on and so on. He simply said nothing about those frauds. He said that this is my problem, that I should solve it, and he bought the property and that's it.
Ok, to je tvoje pravo, ti to teraj ispredjom, šta ćeš ti s njom da radiš, baš mene briga, ja sam to ne mešam. Ali ja sam hteo samo tebe da pitam, ja s tobom nemam nameru ni da se zameram, niti koji đavo, nema ni razloga.
So he literally said here that these crime reports against that monster who murdered 3 members of my family are my problem. They're not my problem. They're a problem of prosecution, because this is crime that's prosecuted by the state. It's not a private lawsuit. And he also said that he doesn't want to have any argument with me, and so on, to have a fight, and so on. So let's hear what's next.
Ja tebe, slušaj, samo sam hteo kratko da te pitam. Nisam hteo, jesi saglasan da dođe do višanja tamo, da ti starupiram onaj korovljak, da ne stoji ono ruglo, i da ti poorem, i da ti sredim sve, pa radi šta hoćeš.
Ovako, znači, deo prvo nismo podelili.
Nismo podelili, ali da ja imam 2/3 vlasti Smedere, ja sam kupio čisto parcelu.
Gledaj, ja ti lepo kažem.
So this is very important. He asked me here if I want him to clean part of my property. I mean the part that he left me. So he's acting as court. And I reminded him one more time that we need to divide the property. He said here literally, right before I post the video, that he bought 2/3 of my property, and that actually later he will say that he cannot wait, but he said he bought 2/3 and that he cannot wait. I mean, wait on the court to divide it.
Znači, ti to što će da tužiš državu, oni to možda odlažu.
Neću ja da tužim državu, dok mi neko ne ospori kupovinu, razumeš?
Pa gledaj, znači, isto ono što važi za advokata, važi za, sad ja ne znam kod kog si išao kod Mrkaljevića, jel si išao kod ove Bojane Babić?
Ne, kod Babićki.
Babićka.
So he confirmed here that Bojana Babić certified that contract. I explained about the contract. It's contract OPU 318-2022. So I explained about that contract in these 2 videos. So that's official confirmation that that notary, who knew very well what's happening, certified that. And of course she knew very well that my signature was falsified.
Babićka je pokušala 2019. da mi na prevaru otme celokupnu imovinu, tako što je samo njoj poslala ovu, kako se zove, poziv za ostavinski. Znači, to su materijalni dokazi. Sve što je pričam, to postoji materijalni dokazi. I znači,
sve ja to tebi verujem.
Ona me molim?
Pa sve ja to tebi verujem. Ti si to radio
nema
na
ti to mene da
tome.
veruješ, čoveče. Pa znaš ti da sam ja bez materijalnih dokaza da sam ovo optužio, ja bi na robiji bio do sada.
Ali vidi, ti mene, da skratimo.
Prijavila me za 5 krivičnih dela. Ona je, isto kao da sam na policajca, izmislila tamo ne znam nija šta i kad sam se pozvao na to da sam svedok međunarodnog organizovanog kriminala, znači ja sam to što sam prijavio MUP, vrh MUP-a za međunarodni organizovani kriminal 2019. Dan posle toga su oni prosledili moju prijavu. Tad nisu teli. Znači 6 meseci su bili, ja sam to poslao svima njima, razumeš? I to je poslato na G Drive, ne znam da li koristiš na Google Drive.
Ne koristim ja tu tehniku uopšte, ja sam se za to vreme. Ja tu tehniku ne volim da koristim.
Mi znači, kad sam se pozvao na to da sam svedok međunarodnog organizovanog kriminala, jer to postoji, oni odbijaju, nijedna institucija državna nije snimila to. Znači ja sam snimao ekran da sam poslao, da sam prijavio vrh MUP-a preko Twittera za međunarodni organizovani kriminal i Interpol i automatski postaje svedok međunarodnog organizovanog kriminala.
Okay, so I explained here again part of notary Bojana Babić. This video explains that, I think, in a lot of details. Again, there are a lot of videos on notary, and as can be seen, this is anti-corruption prosecutor, this piece of shit who was brutally protecting her and other prosecutors. I mean, those pieces of shit prosecutors can control my life when they have more education than me, which doesn't mean I'm special, it just means that I have way more credibility than those pieces of shit who are just lawyers. Bullshit. Okay, so this video explains the part that I just was explaining to this guy, presenting to this guy. So let's see what's next.
Znači, ja kad sam to poslao osnovnom javnom tužilaštvu, oni su odmah odbacili prijavu. Jer znaš šta su radili? Znači, pratili su kako trošim pare, kad su mislili da više nemam para, 10. marta prošle godine me zvao major vojne policije, to sam ti isto rekao, znači major vojne policije me zvao da mi preti.
So this is also important. He confirmed here that I told him that military police major called me. So let's see, where is it? Here. So this is the video that explains what I just said. So that video. So I'm not giving details because I already explained that in the video. So I'll just continue.
I generalštab mu je to naredio. Ja sam mislio se neko zezda i onda zovem generalštab. I oni kažu grešku u komunikaciji. Dan posle toga su na prevaru prebacili u katastar. O tome ti pričam.
So one more time, I just said that, but I need to repeat it. So he confirmed he knew that military police officer is involved in this. So according to the law, he needed to report this to prosecution before even thinking of buying. This is according to the law on criminal proceedings, Article 280.
Znači, dan posle toga, jer oni su teli da me potplate ko mog brata. Znaš šta mi on napisao na Viberu? Ja sam to sve stavio u video, ima video na mom YouTube kanalu. Kakvi gadosti mi napisao.
Taj vaš slučaj je komplikovan.
Isto što si mi rekao sad da imam problem sa njom. Isto mi je rekao i kao da im je neko pričao. I ne znam, moj kum Slobodan i Dragan Tikin, ne idem u to. Znači, ja nemam problem sa njom od trenutka kad je policija podnela prijavu.
So this is probably the most important part of this conversation. So he said something that a lot of other people told me. So I mentioned some of those people. One of them is the guy, my mother's family godfather, who tried to hit me. This guy, he told me that the same sentence. Then this guy, who is also my neighbor and cousin, let me see, this guy Dragan Tečajrović, that's him here. So and a lot of other people, basically almost all my family was either, I don't know, bribed or threatened to defend that monster who murdered my family, to make it look like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know very well what I'm talking about. Just look on YouTube, how YouTube is brutally blocking me here, Facebook as well. So Facebook, YouTube and Twitter are brutally blocking me. So by brutally blocking me, they proved that I know very well what I'm talking about. Let's see, I added something recently. Okay, never mind. So by blocking me these, and also Google, these social networks or whatever people call them, prove that I know very well what I'm talking about. So he also said literally the same thing, that I have problem with her, with that monster who murdered my family, and I explained him in afterwards, right after. I will just play that. I'm about to play that. So I explained that it's not a private lawsuit, that I can say I have problem with her. It's a crime. It's a crime that's prosecuted by the state, by state attorney. So I have problem with prosecution. Prosecution and problem with themselves. So not one prosecution officers, but multiple highest instances of prosecution. So if I search here, it can be seen: prosecution for organized crime, prosecution of appeals, and so on and so on. So a lot of prosecution are protecting that monster who murdered 3 members of my family and poisoned children. So I'm going to play this, and I think that I mentioned that as well in these 2 videos related to his lawyer. So again, this is a lawyer of that war profiteer.
Znači, ta prijava koju je policija podnela, dan posle sam i prijavio Interpolu, još uvek stoji tamo u tužilaštvu, u fioci, a taj koji je postupao po slučaju, Aleksandar Kuzmanović, on je osuđen za džeparenje po vozovima. To su dvoje novine pisale. Razumeš? I to sve mora da se ponovi. Čim je on osuđen za džeparenje po vozovima, ceo postupak mora da se ponovi. Znači, gurnula je mog dedu, imam snima.
I'm going just to refer to this video. So I mentioned Alexander Kuzmanovic, who was in charge of investigating my grandfather's monstrous murder. So details are in this video, so I will just continue.
Vidi, ja te zovem zbog dve stvari, saslušajte samo minut. Jel si saglasan da ti to uradim, da sklonimo onaj korovljak i ono ruglo odavde?
Znači, čika Zvonko, ja korov nisam sklonio zato što brat neće da mi vrati pare. Evo, nisam porao zato što mi se plug pokvario i traktor mi se pokvario. Ja sam to sve popravio. Molim?
Ja ću ti porem na računu onoga što si orao.
Ko je da oreš? Ne znam ko ćeš ti da oreš. Znači, ja ti kažem, mi se nismo dogovorili koji će da oduzmeš ti, koji ja imam pravo da uzimam, onda ima 3 parcele i ja ne možda spajaš parcele bez moje dozvole.
Okay, so this is also a very important part. He again asked me if we want to, because I was plowing part of the property which can be seen in video that I'm about to upload. So this is chronologically what happened after this conversation, after this mobile phone call. So he asked me again if I want him to plow part of my property. Of course, I denied it. Why would I want that? Then I mentioned one more time, I think this is third time in this conversation, that he cannot divide this without my approval. And let's see if he said something related to that.
Razumeš? Znači, to je prvo, ali kažem ti, po zakonu o nasleđivanju nedostojnost nasleđivanja, dok sudija, odnosno dok tužilaštvo ne odbaci tu prijavu koju je policija podnela, a oni da mogu da odbacili bi, jer ona je 2019. Još uvijek to je. Znači, za sve što ti pričam, postoji snimak iz tužilaštva. Sudija ponovo odlučuje. Znači, sudija Dejan Adamović...
Sve to okej, a dok mi čekamo sudiju, ja idem da nas zaorem.
So, I mentioned again how multiple laws are violated. One of those laws is law on inheritance, and of course it can be heard that after I said he needs my approval to divide the property, he said nothing. He pretends that he doesn't know what I'm talking about, and then he said he cannot. That's okay. Everything is okay, but he needs to go to plow the property, implying that he already divided it, which he did.
Ja te pitam za
zbog toga postoji zakon o nasleđivanju i nedostojnosti nasleđivanja, 4. član. Baš zbog toga.
So he literally said here, judge doesn't matter. What judge did doesn't matter. I mean.
Da ne bi posle država morala da plaća nekom. Za to ne može taj ko je osuđen, osumnjičen, ne osuđen, za krivična dela da ništa prodaje. Znači,
dobro, okej, prodali su, ajde tu da stanemo. Ja te pitam, jel hoćeš da očistimo ono sve do višanja dok možda se očisti, da ti porem, da očistimo njivu? To je jedno pitanje.
Kažem ti, čika Zvonko, ja nisam porao zato što nisam imao pare, drugo, izgleda da mi rak iz oka, rekao sam ti da imam rak u oku, izgleda da mi rak iz oka prelazi na jetru i morao sam idem kod lekara i moram opet idem. Znači, pucaju mi kapilari, naduvaju mi se noge, imam još neke simptome, teškog oštećenja jetre. Znači, taj rak prelazi na jetru. Zbog toga, drugo, nemam ništa, ovde sve uništeno, morao sam da kupujem milion stvari, nemam recimo onaj ključ u što ide u profilu, što se odvija, kako se zove, točak, moram zameniti točak na novim. Znaš koliko sam stvari kupovao za plug da popravim?
Upravo zbog toga što...
Molim?
Upravo zbog...
So I mentioned here that I have cancer. I reminded him that I told him about having cancer before. He said nothing on that, just was quiet. And then again he asked me to clean my property and to plow part of my property, pretending that everything is okay. But again, he didn't say a thing on the fact that I have cancer and that I have symptoms of cancer moving from my eye to my liver.
Zbog toga što nemaš čim da uradiš.
Ja sam to sve kupio. Da mi radiš sve njime, razumeš? Ja ti lepo kažem.
A oro si ono, na račun toga da ti pored.
Ja, gledaj ovako, znači, prvo kažem ti, bez obzira na sve ovo, mi nismo podelili, mi moramo da se dogovorimo, podelimo. Znači, ja po zakonu bi imao, ako bi sve bilo u redu, ja bi po zakonu imao, pošto onda ima 4 parcele, mogu da uzem...
4 parcele imaš, 4 parcele, imaš 4 parcele.
Ne znam da su ti 4, to je 11, znači, ja imam pravo da uzmem od svake parcele po trećinu. To bi imao isto pravo.
Ali mora da se isparceliše, ali mora da se isparceliše, da izađe sud isparceliše.
So I again mentioned, I think this is fourth time, that I need to be part of the process of dividing the property because I'm co-owner. Of course, considering that everything was legal, which was not. And he here admitted that court need to divide it, but he still did it himself. But this is very important. He said, if we wait for the court, then the property will still remain wasted. I mean, really caring person.
Ja ti lepo kažem, sudija je na prevaru tu uradio, što bi...
Dađe sud isparceliš. A mi ako čekamo sud, ono će se u parlu i dalje.
Znači, ja ti lepo kažem, sudija je na prevaru tu...
Isparceliše da izađe sud isparceliš. A mi ako čekamo sud, ono će se u parlu i dalje.
Znači, ja ti lepo kažem, sudija je na prevaru tu uradio, što bi... I drugo, ajde uzmi samo ovo pogled.
So I missed this part when I was listening to to recording previously. So in this part, in these few seconds, I said that court doesn't have the guts to divide the property because they already committed frauds, so they cannot mess in this anymore. They have a lot of crimes on their back or in their pocket, wherever, so they cannot they cannot mess with this anymore, which turned out to be true because now it's let's see, year and a half since he bought this, and court still don't have the guts to divide it.
Što bi njima trebalo 3 godine da ovo prodaju ako su mogli odmah? Znaš koliko su izgubili samo ako je urađeno po zakonu? Oni sad misle da ja ću da odustanem pošto očigledno mi se rakširi na jesnu.
A oni da su me ponudili pre 3 godine, ja bih kupio pre 3 godine.
I ovo da ti kažem, ono što si mi rekao kad si dolazio, da sam ja se raspitivao da se to prodam. Ja sam se raspitivao u mog Zorana ime, ne samo za onu njivu, nego za sve njive. To možeš slobodno da pitaš ljudi, mogu ti kažem kod kojih sam se raspitao.
Pa ime mog Zorana
sam teo od njega da vidimo, on meni duguje ogromnu odštetu i on je za nju garantao. Kažem ti, ja sa njom nemam opšte problema, imam problema sa tužilaštvima, jer se za njena krivična dela goni po službenoj dužnosti.
Well, so this part was not something really important, but the last thing I said is, again, something that I mentioned multiple times in this phone call, so that crimes this monster who murdered 3 members of my family, so these crimes are prosecuted ex officio, so by the definition of the job of state prosecutor. And of course, I again said I don't have any problems with her, but with prosecution. And it turns out that according to the law, I can act as state prosecutor when prosecution or acting prosecutor ignores me, which is what happened.
Po službenoj dužnosti. Drugo, vrlo dobro se sećam, jer si dolazio onda zimus i kažeš ja neću, ako budem kupovao ima da se dogovorim s tobom. To si rekao. Znači bio si, čekao si dok ovi prebacuju.
Ne, ja sam ti rekao da ako oni čvrsto rešu da prodaju, da ću ja da kupim, da neću da pustim drugog da uđe tu, ti si meni da to odgovorio, da sam na to mesto i ja bi tako uradio. Ja se dobro sećam šta smo pričali.
Znači ovako, ja sam tebi teo da pošaljem prvo...
So he's lying here that I asked him if he remembers when he was visiting my home. It was January 2022, and he said that he won't buy anything unless I know about it. He will inform me before he buy anything, and he pretends here that this didn't happen, that he didn't say that. Of course, I will not tell if I have that conversation recorded. So it was January 2022, and let's see what's next.
Po zakonu si morao to da dobiješ morao si da prihvatiš. Znači imam po zakonu pravo da ti to pošaljem ili tom advokatu za te prevare, razumeš? Znači ti državu možeš da tužiš, ali to ima da se oduži i da ti naprave ogromne probleme. Znači...
So this is also very important. I reminded him here that he didn't want, when he was visiting my home in January 2022, I wanted to send him all these details on frauds, but he said it's not necessary. He doesn't need it because he won't buy, as I said, he won't buy anything without notifying me first.
To nema šanse da ti oni vrate. Pazi, to je država. Mogu da ti nađu šta god, pazi, ti čovječ imaš firmu, znaš šta oni mogu, koje probleme mogu da ti nađu?
Ma šta možda mi nađu, ja plaćam sve svoje dažbine na vreme.
To je plaćao, gledaj, nemoguće da ne znaš ti kao čovjek šta je bilo s ovim, kao čovjek koji se time bavi, šta je bilo sa Miletom Dragićem. Pa i on je sve plaćao. I on je sve plaćao, se zamenio sa Dinkićem, našli mu šta god hoće. Pa nemoguće da nisi čuo za Mileta Dragića.
Ja sam čuo Mile Dragić je nešto drugo, Mile Dragić je državni projekat i da ne prijem to šta su oni sa njim uradili.
Čekaj, Zvonko, i čekaj, ali nije bilo ovako.
Ja sam za Mileta Dragića.
Čekaj, ajde samo da te opet, smo se sreli kod Šune, toj kuće. Ono kad je to bilo, kad si mi rekao da nećeš da kupuješ dok mi ne rešimo sa njom. Mi rekao,
nisam ti rekao da neću da kupujem, ja sam ti rekao, da vaše, ja sam vama rekao da vaše probleme vi rešavate između sebe, a nisam ti rekao da neću da kupujem. Ali sad pusti to.
Nisi rekao da nećeš da kupuješ, a dok mi to ne rešimo između nas.
Ja sam rekao da vi rešavate vaše probleme između vas.
To nisu, kažem ti, nisu.
So I reminded him on a second occasion when I was talking to one neighbor and he was passing by in his car, his Jeep, and then he said that again he said he won't buy anything until we solve the problems. And again after that he said these are our problems, and again I reminded him these are problems of prosecution, because these crimes are crimes that are prosecuted ex officio by definition of the job of state prosecutor.
Između mene i nje i mene i mog brata, zato što se za njihova krivična dela
So I need to skip this for certain reasons. I want to be totally transparent, so I need to go to 15:10. Okay.
Znači, ja ti lepo kažem, sudija je počinio teška krivična dela, protiv ne postoji prijava za monstruozno ubistvo. Znači, moju prijavu su prosledili 8. odnosno 9. jula, dan pošto sam im prijavio na Interpol, preko Twittera, što je strogo zabranjeno, zato bi me u Interpolu hapsio. Interpol ima, u MUP-u ima kancelariju. Znači, još uvijek stoji to. Ja ti lepo kažem, znači, po zakonu o nasleđivanju na kraju, sve ovo, pošto je to ipak međunarodni zakoni, ti...
So I again refer to that part related to Interpol. I'm not going to explain it again, so I showed the video which explains everything.
Baš tog advokata, to ono što sam ti rekao kad si se naljutio, znači pošalješ za šta ćeš da ti kaže. Ja ti ne mogu ništa, ovo što si pokosio travu, to ti u principu ne mogu ništa, ali kad se poore, kad počneš da oreš, onda si automatski postaje saučesnik. Još uvijek nisi, jer ovo nisi mi potvrdio da si dobio SMS.
Slušaj me, ajde da skratimo priču, vidi, ja te pitam.
So he's not laughing because I said I cannot do anything yet because he was just cleaning up some wild grass. I don't know if I can refer to that as weed, maybe. So it's not a permanent change, so that was something that I would do. But if he starts plowing, that's a permanent change, and then he will become a co-conspirator, and he started laughing on that.
Za da rast. Jel hoćeš da ti pokosimo onaj korov, da instarupiramo ono, da sklonim, jel nećeš?
Gledaj, ja ti lepo kažem, ja to nisam završio, zato što nisam imao pare.
Ja ne mogu da čekam da vi završite.
Znači, što se toga tiče, ja neću ničiju pomoć. Ako bude mogo da posrem i da poredem, ako ne, znači, ja sam... Molim?
Ako nećeš, ono što si porao, ja ću ti dam naftu, ću ti dam pare, ja sam mislio na račun toga da ti počistimo onaj korov kroz dovišanje, da ti pore.
Ja ti lepo kažem, ne mogu ništa u principu dok ne počneš da oreš. Ti kad počneš da oreš, znači automatski postaješ saučesnik. Evo ja ti da ti rekao, Zvonko, ti gledaj, ti po zakonu moraš da primiš taj mail da ti ja pošaljem kako su oni kršili zakon, razumeš? Ti to moraš po zakonu.
Ja s tim ne baratam, sa tom elektronskom poštom, meni to ne treba. Ja Slušaj, kontakte, ja i ti, ja priznajem kontakte, samo ja i ti u 4 oka.
So this is also very important. I said that I will. He needs to receive my email about those frauds committed by judges, multiple judges, and this is the same thing that this piece of shit, his lawyer, did. She also didn't want to confirm receiving my email, which can be heard in these two parts of one phone call. So obviously there was the same person who was telling them what to do. Again, that's someone from, well, probably not directly, but indirectly, someone from those pieces of shit from United States Embassy. So he said that he cannot wait, and he will do, just a second, where's that part? I need to play it again.
Sa tom elektronskom poštom, meni to ne treba, ja s tobom, slušaj.
So that part, the last thing he said, he doesn't acknowledge any type of communication except talking face to face. So he didn't want me to send him again. I asked him again to send him these documents using email, and it can be seen in a video I just uploaded about him here, that his company officially have email. So he refused that and said that only talking face to face is communication for him. Obviously he has his own laws. I don't know how that works, but obviously it works for him.
Kontakte, ja i ti, ja priznajem kontakte, samo ja i ti u 4 oka uspeno. Ni telefon, ni poruke, ni mail, ništa. To pusti.
Dobro, nećeš, znači ja danas šaljem posljeniče u višem sudu kod predsjednice suda, pazi, znači sam viši sud kad je odlučivo, to nemoguće da toliko ne znaš pravo, nemoguće ne znaš zakon, znači kad je sud odlučivo po mojoj prijavi, po mojoj žalbi na ostavinski, oni su napisali žalio se, nisu smjeli da napišu na što se žalio, razumeš, znači sudija kad sam bio na ostavinskom, pitam ga što nisi ispitao na dostojnost suđenja, kaže nisi imao vremena, a ispituje se po službene dužnosti. Ova je počinila takva krivična dela Bojana Babić, da to je nevjerovatno, pa namerno da je, naravno da je išao tako nje.
Oops, sorry, I didn't turn on microphone. So I was referring to frauds of higher instance court here, which are explained in this video, and in that long video of hour and 40 minutes. And it can be heard here that he is bored by my explanation, that word profiteer. So let's continue.
Ti radi tvoj deo što misliš da treba da radiš, ja radim što mislim da treba da radim.
Dobro, znači ja ovo sad šaljem advokatici, poslaću tebi na mail, to će da se vidi da se vratio ili nije.
Ovo sam... Koje je advokatici?
Pa kako koja advokatici, ona što je išlo sve preko nje. Znači ona je rekla da ne može se prodavati. Ona je meni rekla, ja nju pitam, dobro, aj ti meni kaži, da li si ti vidjela nekad da može da se prebaci u katastru ako je sudija falsifikovao zapisnik.
Slušaj, ja idem da radim svoj posao, ti radi svoj posao i onda to smo razrešili.
So I mentioned lawyer here again, and he pretends he doesn't know what I'm talking about. He didn't mention a single time that it's his lawyer, and it turned out it was his lawyer. This is why she was that lawyer Dushanka Lukic. because she lives in nearby place, and also his wife is from that place, from there, and this is probably how they got connected. And he never ever mentioned that it's his lawyer, my brother told me. So he repeated one more time that he will do his job, what he thinks it's okay, and I can continue doing my job. So again, he has his own laws.
Šta se bude odlučilo? Odlučilo da ga jebem ako kupim 20.000 evra. Pukao se mi u pičku baciti. Druga stvar, šta sam teo ti kažem?
2000 si dao advokatici, to da znaš. Si znao to?
Šta sam dao?
2000 si dao advokatici.
Koja je 2000?
Pa 2000 euro si dao advokatici, 10 si dao njima. Po 5 Zoranu. Gledaj, ona ne sme da troši pare. Ti razmisli zbog čega. Kupuje još uvek neke koske. Ne sme da troši pare. Zna da...
I again mentioned that lawyer, and he still pretends he doesn't know what I'm talking about. He doesn't know that lawyer, and so on and so on. So I need to skip this part for certain reasons. Again, I'm totally transparent. So 1932, and that was 1927. Okay, so let's continue.
Gelica kupovala neke koske do sada zato što je pokrala ogromne pare. Oni su joj rekli da se pravi da nema pare. Kupovala bre, zna celo selo da je pušilo one karele s njim. 100 puši bre. Dok je Nole bio.
So I mentioned here how that monster who murdered 3 members of my family is saving money way more than it's normal. So this is video on how much money she stole from my property, and I'm about to find out what's happening with that money. That's why I'm contacting banks. So these are videos related to banks. This up to this one, excluding this one. This is something from created 2 years ago. So I explained here that that monster doesn't have the guts to spend the money she stole from my property, and she's extremely she's sparing money to the level that's really bizarre, and she also didn't have the guts to spend that money she got when she sold part of my property.
Ceca tu pevačica. Molim.
And I mentioned here that monster who murdered 3 members of my family, while my father was alive, she was smoking very expensive cigarettes. As far as I remember, one of the popular singers in Serbia, folk singers, is smoking those cigarettes. These are called Karelia Slims, something like that. So, and I don't know what she's doing now. She's now in a nursing home, that monstrous murder of my family. But before that, she was making handmade cigarettes. So this is how much she was spending, because she wanted those morons, her sister and her husband, told her to do everything to make it look like she doesn't have money, to hide that she stole more than 35,000 euros from my property.
Ništa nisam rekao, tu sam.
Znači,
Alo?
Jesi tu?
Tu sam bre,
Ona ne sme
slušajte.
te pare troši. Pa ja ti lepo kažem, znači imam dva razgovora sa ovom, jedan je oko sat, mislim da su oba oko sat vremena, gde advokatica koju angažava mog...
Okay, this is the last part I need to skip for certain reasons again to 2016. And that was again part about that lawyer. His lawyer Dušanka Lukić.
Iz Beograda, on ima advokate svoje u Ćupriji. I ona kaže ne...
Yeah, so this is unbelievable. So I explained here that it is very strange that my brother hired a lawyer, that Dušanka Lukić, although he know a lot, so lawyer from Belgrade, she works in Belgrade in legal office in Belgrade. So it was very strange to me because my brother knows other lawyers in the city where he lives and in the nearby cities, and he still pretends he knows nothing about that. So he hired his lawyer to convince my brother to sell the property. So he said that it is possible that somebody else found that lawyer for him, but that somebody else was himself.
Može da se proda. Ona meni kaže, to još uvek nema kupaca i to ne može da se proda. Pre toga sam se svađao sa njom, kaže ja ću tebe da prijavim, posle drugi razgovor, pa razgovor ko si to da si pošaljem. Znači ti si 2000 dao njoj, vidiš da to i ne znaš, nisu smeli da ti kažu. 2000 ona uzela, čoveč, 2100 evra.
She is again playing dumb when I said that lawyer, I thought that lawyer took some percentage. I thought it was like 2,000 euros, but actually he probably paid her for representing my brother and that monster who murdered my family. By the way, my brother will file a request to annul that contract, or he will have major issues, major problems, and the main part is not that he will just file he need to do that according to the law, because I explained I have like tons of evidence that everything is done illegally, and as I explained in this last video, I mean I mentioned that in that video, I mentioned that in other videos, no lawyer wants to mess with this. Even International Association of Lawyers, or Bar Association, International Bar Association, so they blocked my email, which is unbelievable. There are a lot of other lawyers, top lawyers in Serbia, that don't have the guts to mess with this case. So these are videos about these lawyers. This, and the top lawyer is described, mentioned in this video. So 5 top lawyers of Serbia don't have the guts to mess with this case. So let's see what's next.
Zoran je uzeo 5.000 i ova jel. Jer to 50 evra su teli da prodaje. Pa pogledaj sam. Jer ti imaš uopšte onu ponudu koja na meni poslala. To si mora da dobiješ.
Imam ja.
Šta tamo piše? 6.000 evra. Šta ti misliš da ona ništa nije uzela?
Pa nemam pojma šta je ona njima uzela, ja znam da sam njima prebacio po 6.000 evra na račun i
Ja ti kažem,
sve.
znači ona je uzela 2.000 evra, jer moj Zoran ne zna zakon, on misli da će sada mu plaši advokaticom, znači oni mi se u početku uopšte nisu tali jave na telefon, dok ih nisam snimio preko Vibera sam zvao, odnosno preko Skype-a.
Dobro.
So he still plays dumb. He knows very well that that's his lawyer. And I also mentioned, I don't know if I should publish that video, but I have a video where someone from law office where this lawyer Dusan Kalukic works, when I was he answered my phone call because I was using Skype, so it was not my number. Before that, they didn't want to answer my phone calls, that legal office. So I mentioned that here, and he's still playing dumb that he doesn't know what I'm talking about that lawyer. And also, he confirmed that he also received the offer that lawyer sent me, because this is according to the law, and that's explained in, I think, second part of that video related to lawyer.
Jel ono, kad je prošlo 20 dana od kad sam ja poslao, od kad sam trebao da pošaljem odgovor na ponudu, vi ste to verovatno u petak potpisali, koji ono beše to petak bio?
Nemam pojma, ako je nam bio.
Znači, i kažem ti, ova notarka, ona je isto umešana, ona je visoko kompromitana za to što je bila švalerka. Novine su pisali, još uvek stoji tamo, kako se zove članak, bila je švalerka Zorana Đorđevića, ministra. On je umešan u trgovinu oružjem. U Libiji.
So now I mentioned notary Bojana Babić again, and her connection with that former minister involved in illegal arms trade, and of course this war profiteer said he knows nothing about that.
Poginu. Znači, to toliko ima slučajeva da organizovanog, međunarodnog organizovanog kriminala da ne možda veriš, ali okej. Znači, kažem ti lepo, to što poseko travu, ja ti ne mogu ništa, to je ništa. Ali kad počneš da oreš, ja u tom trenutku, ti u tom trenutku postoje saučnik. I što su si dao pare, to nije ništa.
Ništa, što postanem saučnik i ajde, to smo razrešili.
Dobro.
Druga stvar, zašto sam te zvao. U subotu izdajem raj 40 dana. 2, pola, 3, izvolite dođi da ručak na večeru.
Dobro, i to sam ti isto rekao, znači, ja sam te zamolio da je ne primaš u kuću, ti si ono rekao kad smo se seli, kad si bio u...
A ne mogu nikog da najurim, jebi ga.
Gledaj, ako je mogo moj Dragan Tikin, koji je bio mnogo bliži sa njom, kad mu je pokrala...
Ma šta sam, nisam ja blizak sa njom, ni blizak.
Moj Dragan Tikin...
So I reminded him here again, I mentioned that multiple times when I was talking to him, that he was giving credibility to that monster who murdered my family. He's one of few neighbors who let her visited their homes and giving her credibility, and he said that really doesn't matter.
Imam snimak njegov kada on kaže da mu na silu ulazi u kuću, da se plaši da mu ne zapali kuću. On je rekao, nemoj da mi više uđeš slučajno, i ona nije smela da ulazi. Njoj je važno iz 2 razloga da dolazi kod ljudi. Znači ti ono što kažeš da nisi mogao da oteraš, ti si mogao mene da pozoveš, da izmisliš da si i meni nešto kupio da ja dođem. To si mogao. Znači zamolio sam te, ja sam za mog oca, ovo samo još da ti kažem, ja sam za mog oca našao 3 načina da se izleči. Dokazao sam da je otrov. To su materijalni dokazi. Dokazano, kraj priče. Znači, ona kad je vidio da mu pomažu za 3. Na 3 različita načina. Za svaki način mu je davala nešto da ga boli stomak. Znači, to je zver u ljudskom obliku. Gledala je kako se muči. A moj otac je tebe i baku smatrao za rođenu braću, kao da ste mu rođena braća.
Ne kaže da nije.
Jako te ceni, uopšte ne znaš koliko te ceni. Ne možeš da zamisliš i ovoga mog, kako se zove, strica iz Lugače. Dobro i ovog mog Novicu, strica iz Zanje.
So I mentioned here something very important, that I found 3 ways to heal my father. I proved that he didn't have Parkinson's disease. He has brain damage because he was poisoned, and also my grandparents were poisoned by heavy metals, So I mentioned here that I found 3 ways to heal my father naturally, and that monster who murdered 3 members of my family, poisoned them. Actually, doctors were the one who finished them off, but they just finished them off. She basically murdered them. So every time she figured out, she saw that my father is getting better, she started giving him something to have problems with stomach, and he stopped taking those natural medicines. So she watched when when not just my father but also my grandparents, when they were suffering, and she was poisoning them for years. So I stated here that she's monster in flesh. And of course I mentioned that my father really had high opinion about this guy. Again, he was also his cousin from his mother's side, my grandmother's side.